What's up, guys? Welcome to VSGaming's Overwatch League, Leg 1. My name is Tranok. With me is Naori Mizuki. We have got Thunderclap taking on JSG Mutiny. How are you doing tonight, Miss Mizuki? I'm going with that one.
Definitely miss. Doing absolutely fantastic. Really excited to be casting even more ZA Overwatch. It feels like forever, but it's never long enough. You know, you always got to get back into that grind. So excited to watch this game.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a great game because firstly, I haven't seen Mutiny play, and I haven't seen Thundercap play, and Thundercap's quite a strong roster. Mostly ex-Prem players, DDC players. Rexon was, I can't remember what team he played for, but yeah, some really strong players. Prodigy, that was another ex-Prem team. So some good strong players in their roster, and might be a little bit of a feels bad man for Mutiny as they have a little bit more of an unknown roster, to me at least. I don't know, do you want to break down Mutiny's roster for me?
So Mutiny, a lot of them are actually fairly new to the scene. I know Night is from the old Rebellion, like way back in day, and apparently Mugiwara as well was on the Rebellion, and Kuberin apparently played for the old Persephone Res. The other three players, I believe, are new. So, as you say, a little bit of a dark horse here. Not too sure what they're going to be able to bring to the table. But Thunderclap, we've been seeing their results recently from the games that they have been playing, and they have been doing phenomenally well. So, I think you're not wrong in suspecting that Mutiny are going to have a bit of a tough time in this match.
But there's always the underdog. The underdog factor, they could come out roaring and just completely take Thunderclap by surprise. And of course, I mean, Thunderclap are missing one of their primary DPS with Rexon not really being here at the moment. Cloudburst's going to be taking Heat's place on that one.
Yeah, apparently Cloud's best hero is Pharah, and I'm really excited to see that because we've seen a lot of Pharah play recently in various tiers of competition. She's really strong at the moment, and with Tugal on that Mercy, Tugal is a phenomenal Mercy main, or Mercy player, let me rather say. So I'm keen to see how they're going to work synergistically. I know that Night apparently can play that Hanzo, which could give them a little bit of trouble there, but ultimately, I'm excited to see that.
I'm excited to see it too, as we're going into Hanamura first, and it's going to be it's one of those maps where you can see a lot of goats, but we have seen some interesting compositions, especially in South Africa. A lot of DPS coming out. What do you expect? What do you want to see as we enter? We don't know what the first map's going to be, obviously, but what do you expect to see in general?
So if the first map is mecha based, I'm definitely expecting to see some Mei. We've been seeing that a lot recently. Also, possibly some Ashe Pharah. That's been a very popular combination, especially in the higher tier play, open division and up. But I think we might see some interesting compositions. Something that I've noticed from the ZA teams is they don't really stick to the mold of set compositions. Yes, we do see goats come out from them every now and then, but for the most part, they run the most interesting strats, and I love to see it. We've seen Reinhardt and Roadhog, and we've seen Winston and Zarya, and these interesting combinations that generally don't make a lot of sense, but they make it work. Like, they find ways to make combinations that you wouldn't have expected, and they come out on top. So I'm hoping to see some exciting strategies here, maybe even some Widowmaker. That's pretty popular. There's so many possible compositions here. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really hoping that we don't see goats. I want to see some of that trademark South African creativity.
It's definitely something you see in in the open division, at least. I mean, the Prem guys stick a little bit more to the meta, so I'm sure we will see some craziness pop out here. And obviously you got Cloud, who's most familiar with playing that projectile DPS, so that might also play a factor in what kind of composition they do roll out with.
Absolutely. Again, if they roll out with that pharmacy, it's going to be great to create a lot of space for them, especially on this map. If we see Mutiny roll out with goats, they might really struggle against that Pharah. But we might even see the goats v goats matchup here. I'm really hoping to see some Ashe, because Bob is really fun on this point. If you can get him onto that onto the actual control point, and he can just stand there and spam people down for days, that works really well. Something we've also seen a lot of is some of that Reinhardt, Zarya for that brawl composition. Not necessarily goats itself, but just if you come out with possibly a Reaper or any one of those compositions. But it looks like We're going to see double main tank from Mutiny, and that's something that we saw from Rebellion as well. So I'm seeing a little bit of a pattern here, followed by Tracer and Ashe. And I think this is an interesting composition. I'm not sure how well it's going to work, because the Tracer is not going to have too much help in the backline. Usually you want a Zen or something to orb that Tracer, but hopefully the Tracer will be able to come back and get some healing. And what we're seeing from Thunderclap is a traditional Zen Goat. And of course, this is an incredibly strong composition, but put up against Ashe with that dynamite, it could be quite difficult, because that's a lot of spam damage, and that's going to be difficult to put up with on a Goat's part.
Of course, the Winston double main tank works quite nicely in Goats, but they do have those 2 DPS as they're going for the engage here, and it doesn't look like Kuberin is faring too well. Gets the hammer of defect as he just gets knocked down, and that's going to put them a bit on the back foot. Really well played by Ivan, I almost said Ivan, to protect his backline there in the absence of a diva.
And what I really want to just point out here is how well Thunderclap has managed to play this Goat, especially in that engagement. The most important thing is to put all of your resources into your Reinhardt, and that's exactly what they did. Defect absolutely popped off.
Well, they're looking to just push them away now. Don't even want them to get close to the point as they're engaging. Ivan's got that shield up. Oh, nice little Earth Shatter as it goes down. That catches 2, and that's going to be it. JSG Mutiny have to reset this, but it looks like Thunderclap are unrelenting in their attack. Just pushing all the way to the spawn, and that Zarya just gets bashed down by the scariness that is Brigitte.
Yeah, unfortunately, Kuberin was quite alone, dived in without anybody with him. Just remember, this is not a dive composition, so for Winston to be diving in on is really dangerous, and he did get very punished for it. But now, Thunderclap are holding very close here, and they don't have anything to support them.
You can see they're immediately just using the speed boost of the Lucio, amp it up, goes in, they engage straight onto JSG Mutiny, and that's going to be all she wrote for them. Mutiny don't have that extra little bit of boost from Lucio, and the backcap's not going to be enough by Rutu.
Yeah, the issue with backcaps is, of course, you've got one less person in the team fight. Sometimes it can work out well for you, but against a team that's got some coordination like Thunderclap, it's really not the best idea. You're going into a 5v6, and chances are you're going to come up second best.
Oh, that's a little bit of an unfortunate trading of the Earth Shatter's shield was down. Ivan unable to get that up quick enough. So hate to see that kind of moment, the mistimed shield.
Yeah, again, Mutiny running this very strange composition. Night swapping onto the Junkrat as well. Like, you're not going to get through the powerhouse that is Ghost with this composition, right? The best thing that you can do is run a counter Ghost, or possibly a Sombra to try and disable some of that self-destruct.
That self-destruct should not be killing anyone. You're right next to your spawn. You can run inside. How is that self-destruct affecting you that way?
I suppose at that point, everybody's scrambling. They want to get onto the point. They're on 98%. And they realize it's not going to happen. And everybody rushes out, and suddenly there's a diva bomb in your face. Makes it a little difficult.
You got to just rush back. You got to run back. That's all you got to do. You just run. You press the S button. Stop pressing W for once in your life. That's all you got to do. It's simple.
Oh, dear. Yes, you're not wrong. I suppose either way, like at that point in the game, it wouldn't have mattered. Even if they'd managed to come out of the gate, they wouldn't have gotten to points. So you either come out the gate and die to Diva Bomb and don't get the point, or you don't come out the gate, don't die to Diva Bomb, and you still don't get the point.
Just don't make the Diva look better than a Diva is, right? That's what it's about. Mutiny gonna be trying to sneak along the left, just avoiding that engagement with Thunder from the get-go.
You should not be dying to a Pharah. That shouldn't be happening. But unfortunately, he does get caught out. 5v6 now.
Yeah, so Winston dive. Unfortunately for Deninja, he's going to be countered by Kuberin on this Winston, but it doesn't actually matter if the rest of the team actually falls and Deninja can just stay alive. Cap wasn't even uncapped, and that was a team wipe. Thunderclap are looking scary here.
Yeah, Mutiny doing some weird things. They were so split up. They had half of their team on the side of the building and half of their team around the back. And there was they weren't grouped up, so it was so easy for Cloudburst to just pick apart that back line with absolutely no contesting. So now they've stopped Night onto that hand zone to try and deal with Cloudburst. And that's kind of what I spoke about earlier, but the barrage comes in and that's going to shut down their push straight away.
Barrage is is scary if you have no protection from it, which they don't. No Transcendence here, no real defense from JSG Mutiny. They're running an Ana and a Mercy. I mean, Mercy can do the job, but when those huge ultimates come out, a good Transcendence can save the team.
Exactly, and of course Cooper in there on that Diva. Diva can eat a barrage, but if Diva's not really concentrating, not really focusing, then it's not going to work. And of course Yeezy doing so much out on this Widowmaker. They don't have a chance to regroup. They don't even know what's hit them, and Yeezy's actually going in. He's moving straight in. He's a frontlining Widowmaker and still getting picks. Like, Mutiny cannot be allowing this to happen. They're so split up once again.
In the air, picks off the Tracer. That was amazing. Yeezy, what? Where has this come from? Like you said, how are you allowing the Widow to have the low ground?
Yeezy just absolutely popping off, and then of course we get the self-destruct going out there. We've got these random ultimates going out, but Thunderclap are sitting on one ultimate now. Tugel did use that Valkyrie, which I don't really agree with because you were winning the fight, but I suppose it works. Why not? Mutiny have 3 ultimates, 2 about to come online, and they have a massive advantage here. They just need to like get it together, you know? And I think the problem is that they're running this Reinhardt with this Diva. Reinhardt should really be running with this area. Bubbles would be so useful to them for the spam damage coming in, but they just haven't thought that through. Nice self-destructor. That'll give them an opportunity to try and get back on.
Getting that self-destruct definitely opens it up. Getting rid of the Ninja, a little bit of a chance to get onto the point, even though Lucio doesn't really have the fastest healing out of the spots, although the Ninja gets quite fast back into the fight, and Cloudburst wastes a barrage into the sky, and that's going to be it. That was a victory barrage, indeed.
So again, it just comes down to Mutiny running some really strange compositions, and it's something that I spoke about in regard to Rebellion as well. It feels like they're running heroes that they excel at, and they're not thinking about compositional choices and how the heroes play together, how they work in a compositional environment, right? Because the heroes that they're running don't synergize well together, and without that synergy, you're not going to be able to succeed. Thunderclap, they've got it down. First map, they ran that Goats. They knew what they were doing. Second map, they had the Widow Pharah, and that's exactly what you need. Pharah raining justice from above, Widow raining justice from, like, the low ground, apparently. And you got damage coming at you from 2 different directions, and it worked exactly the way that they wanted it to. It created a whole lot of dissension. Mutiny didn't know where to look. When they went left, there was the Pharah. When they went right, there was the Widowmaker. So they need to really consider how they're running their compositions, because as it is right now, it's just not working out.
Let's see what the next map is going to be, though, and it is going to be. We've had this twice now, Route 66. Or at least since I've casted the games we've done, Route 66 seems to be the popular choices.
Yeah, Route 66. What I love is we've seen some really interesting compositions come out here in the higher tier, like contenders and open division and so on. We've seen a lot of quad DPS. I speak about this every time Route 66 is played, but it's so much fun to see these compositions. The quad DPS, the May Igloo strat. We've even seen some interesting bunker comps coming through. We had 8-Bit Oddity running a interesting variant on bunker comp last week sometime. So there's really a lot of space for you to play around with your compositions here, play around with your choice of heroes, and I'm really excited once again just to see what interesting things we might see. Although I suspect Thunderclap, we might be seeing a little bit more Goats from them, because of course that is also quite a strong composition on this map.
Of course it is going to be Thunderclap to defend that one first, so we'll see what they have in about 17 seconds. What they think is a viable defense for this map. Often, like I said, you do see that for that quad DPS come out.
I really hope they do the Igloo strat. Please do the Igloo strat.
The problem with the Igloo is I mean, I don't expect Mutiny to be able to deal with an Igloo, but a higher tier team, an Igloo is just a bad choice because you just have locked in a room, right? You're locked in a room with a May, and one self-destruct into that room that's it. You're gone.
I mean, I've seen people survive a self-destruct in that room, surprisingly enough. No, they survived a dragon that just went straight through the room. It was the nuttiest thing. The thing about the May strat is, of course, if you've got your cooldown timing correct, it can be devastating. But as I predicted, we've got Thunderclap coming through on that Goats composition. I mean, it's the strongest composition for a reason, right? And the more they practice it, the better they get at it, the better they when they play it. We're still going to be seeing how this meta might change up now with all the new patch changes that are coming in, but for the moment it is quite strong. What we're seeing from Mutiny is traditional dive tanks, so tanks that have synergy. I like that. And we're seeing the Soldier and the Widowmaker, so they've got a lot of space to deal long range damage, and then of course the Anna and the Lucio. Not a bad compositional choice, but I don't know how it's going to fare against this one.
Oh, we're gonna find out right now. Kuberin gets engaged early, wasn't unable to really use that Winston dive ability, and now he's just getting chased down. He's all the way back to spawn. It seems Thunder love doing this. They just chase them to the spawn. I suppose you don't have to worry about your enemy if they can't really do anything to you.
Well, it's extra ult charge as well. If you allow them to retreat, that's ult charge you could have had, man. You chase them all the way back to spawn, get that extra ult charge, and then regroup and get ready for their next engage.
Low armor pack on Miru as they go for this next engagement. Gonna help him out quite well and just be able to smash down Rutu. Guess teammate. This is
so much.
yeah. Sorry, you can talk because it's literally just an engage fight is over engage, and at this point, Mutiny just need to rethink how they approach these team fights.
I really want to put some light on Tugal on this Zenyatta. Discord orbs on point. Harmony orb always on defect. Defect is able to just go in and create a whole lot of havoc, and then of course Lord is ready with nades or
Little bit of a thrown away out there. Grab and the Earth Shatter. Sometimes the comms get a little bit chaotic, so wasted at least one of those outies, but they got some charge back, I guess.
Defect jumped off the map. This is actually the opportunity that yes, they are now. They got a little bit too excited there about the fact that Defect jumped off the map. But this is it. It's 5v6 or 5v5.
Ooh, Dragon Strike comes through. Not able to really find anyone. Kuberin popping that Primal Rage to try and clear out this point, but Miru gets a beautiful charge down on Ivan, and looks like the rest of the team is just surrounded, unsure how to move forward after that. So trying to engage with the Dragon can work out, but Thunder were just a bit too aware of what was going on.
Tugal with a very late Transcendence there. I suppose everybody was a little bit low after that Dragon Strike out, but still a little bit weird coming out so late in the game. It did work in their favor, but it feels like Mutiny are just struggling to hit W when they have an opportunity. They're not getting aggressive.
I mean, at this point, they have no opportunity to really get aggressive as they leave spawn, they get grabbed, they get Primal Rage, they get Earth Shattered. They're just currently being bashed back into the diner, and there's not even apple pie for one of them to enjoy.
And a really strange dragon coming from Night Knight here. I don't know if he's given up, if he actually thought he would get value from that. It really wasn't the best ultimate he could have had. I think they're feeling just a little bit demotivated at the moment. Thunderclap are just in their spawn, and it doesn't matter how many ultimates they use. I mean, they used 3 tank ultimates in rapid succession, and they did it without even thinking about it. They're not concerned at all. Tugal on the Xenobia 1v1ing the Soldier. She's not concerned. There's just, I don't know, Thunderclap, they've got their teamwork down, they've got their synergy down, they're not worried.
Thunderclap don't have to be concerned about it, because even when Mutiny do have ultimates up, they throw them away. Hansa throws that dragon away before there's anyone really who can help capitalize on the dragon. They're just throwing ultimates into Thunder and hoping to get at least one pick in which they capitalize on, and even that's not enough for them right now, because even without one hero, Thunder can hold up this point quite nicely. You could probably send any one of those players on Thunder and Mutiny will have a hard time getting onto that payload.
I mean, we saw it when Defect jumped off the map, and that was the perfect opportunity. And again, there was no aggression. We saw Winston trying to push in, but the rest of his team, the rest of Mutiny were not following. So he's busy trying to be aggressive. He's trying to hold W. He's doing what he's supposed to do as a tank. And the rest of his team, they're just not backing him up. And he's probably saying, come guys, it's a 6v5. We can do this. Anna, yes, Anna went down, but she'll be back up in a couple of seconds. Defect still has to come all the way from literally the other side of the map. We can do this. And his team are just not following up, and that's a huge issue I have at the moment. And yes, it's very daunting when you're playing against a team that's doing this well against you, and you're feeling like you are massively outskilled and outclassed, and get you get hesitant to actually engage. But that's exactly what you need to be doing. If you're not engaging, you can't win the fight. If you allow them to engage onto you, then the fight's already lost.
Ready for battle.
I mean, the fight could be lost quite soon, and I've never seen that rectangle that close to the payload. That's a scary place for that rectangle to be. Mutiny have to do something, and I just don't see the composition that they're playing working out for them. I can't see the Pharah doing much here, or it does look like they're actually trying to play dive, but you gotta have some sort of defense against that Zarya, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm pretty sure that that's not where the cart ended, but there must be like a minimum. Like Blizzard's like, okay, you didn't push it, but we'll give you a chance.
No, they got it there. They definitely got it there.
But it like rolled back.
Looks like a little bit of cheese coming out from Thunder as they bring out the Bastion. Going to set a pirate ship, and very unnecessary over-the-top pirate ship here as Rutu just gets immediately focused down, melted away by the Gatling cannon. And now Kuberin, I don't quite know if he's aware that there's a Bastion that is ready to just plow into him, but just kind of exposing himself, needs to get a mech. Not going to happen anytime soon. Great sleep puts Muguara out of this fight, and Ivan's just going to try get some sneaky peeks, but no one's contesting this point, and that's going to be a C9, as the kids say.
That was 100% a C9. Ivan was just standing on that high ground. He could have jumped on the cart. Yes, you're going to die, but you might be able to contest it for just a few more seconds and allow the rest of your team to come back. For you to just be standing up on that high ground, you've basically already given up, right? So this was a pretty decisive attack from Thunderclap. Even though they did lose some people on this attack, it didn't matter. They kept holding W. They had that aggression, that thing that Mutiny is just not showing.
Mutiny are scared. This is what happens. This is what it looks like when a team's been shown how to play the game, and now they're a little bit too scared to really push the W, to really engage to their fullest. And it shows, especially when they get locked into spawn. There's a few paths out of spawn that they could have made use of, right? But instead they kept trying the same path, and because of that, they just didn't want to push forward. You saw them like hesitating every time they went to the edge of the spawn in their defensive round, and in the attacking round, it seems like the team's not working together. I mean, you had Rutu dive on, and his D.Va was there to peel out and support, but no one was focusing down the Bastion. You had an Ana, could easily just put that Bastion to sleep. Instead, your backline was hiding almost in the corner, but like they didn't want to really be involved with the fight, and your front line is just getting melted.
Yep. And as you say, those extra avenues to try and get out that aren't used, and we see that on so many maps. I've seen it even on not Volskaya, Watchpoint Gibraltar, when you're on the third spawn on the defending side, and everybody goes out that right-hand door, and so that right-hand door continuously gets camped. So nobody ever goes out the left-hand door, and it's the same situation that we just saw on Route 66. Everybody's coming out that main door. Hello, there's another door. Yes, there might have been a person there, but if you can get a pick off from inside, because there was only one person, right? I think it was just Tugel that was holding that right door, and Ivan was unable to take her down on Soldier. But if he'd been able to get that pick, then that would have created an opportunity. So it's these small things that Mutiny really need to be thinking about when they start their next engage. It looks like we are going to move on to Hanamura now, and again, this is another map that I really hope we're going to see some Mei on. It's another very popular map for Pharah Ashe. The trick to this map is, of course, that first choke, there is only one pathway. So everything we've been saying about taking another pathway, it's not going to work on Hanamura. This is where Mutiny are really going to have to show their mettle. They're really going to have to show that they can, in fact, press W and mount an attack.
Yeah, if they can just Zerg rush through the door, which is a tactic people often use on this map, it's definitely going to help them out. But if they hesitate on that threshold into first checkpoint, that's going to be a problem for them. That's not going to work out, and they are just going to get once again pushed all the way back to their spawn area.
I mean, if you're the attacking team, if you can get all 6 players onto the point and 1 pick, then there's a very good chance that you've basically won your attack, right? Because the spawn for the opposition is so far away. Even if one of your players gets picked off, you need to have that aggression because your spawn is so much closer. If there's a trade, if you take a pick and they get a pick, push. Press W, because whoever it was that went down will be back, and you may all wind up wiping, or you could just completely steamroll and get that proper snowball all the way onto second point. That's the thing about 2CP. You've got to be aggressive. You can't be playing passively. Look, it's like that on every map, but particularly on these assault type maps, you've got to be hitting that W.
Just run forwards, never backwards. That's how you get in. That's really how you are going to get through here. As simple and cheesy as that sounds, that's basically it. Although Yazy bringing out the cheese himself.
I like that they're running the Roadhog Orisa for that Halt Hook combo. That's really huge. It can create a lot of opening for their team to try and get an early pick off. The Torbjorn, I'm not a fan of Torbjorn in general, but he has become slightly more powerful recently, so they might be able to use it to good effect, especially because Mutiny at the moment, they're looking a little scattered, they're looking a little uncoordinated, and I think they're going to have trouble dealing with that turret. Oh, as I say that, Ivan gets so low.
Yeah, that problem is most good teams do know how to deal with the turret, how to enter when there is a turret. And in this case, the Mutiny, just given the way that they have been playing, I think it's going to be a hard challenge for them. And saying that, Ivan immediately gets hooked by a beautiful hook defect, taken out. Rutu now in a bad situation as Miru goes really aggressive here, finally getting support from Yazu, who's using that change molten core ability that you now have as the Torbjorn. So once again, you see this Mutiny pushed all the way back to spawn, and already the moment Ivan got picked off, the backline just completely ran away.
Yeah, and they got entirely collapsed on. And this is another thing, like regrouping is so important. That didn't have to end in a team wipe. That could have ended in just 1 or 2 picks and the rest of you get away, but they kept fighting, and that was a huge issue. Now we've got Cloudburst in the backline putting so much damage into Mutiny, and it seems like they either haven't noticed him or they're trying to ignore him, and he's just getting so much ult charge off of it. Oh, unlucky.
Yeah, that Cloud. So once again, we've both just kind of switched into talking about everything about this game, really. Mutiny was split, right? They had Cloud attacking from one side, which had them scared, and then Rutu decided to dive in to the main sort of force of Thunder, while his Winston decided to dive onto Cloud, and the backline once again ran away scared.
Now they're trying to come in for a re-engage, and Kuberin, of course, is all alone, and that's not what you want. You want the rest of the team. He needs to be waiting for the rest of his team before he dives in. But he's still... Okay, he does manage to get out, though, but the charge comes out.
Oh, a nano boost on that Torbjorn. That's scary. And there we go. Ivan falls shortly after Kuberin had nothing to say, as just this really small, angry Swedish man charged him down with a lava shotgun. I don't know how else to describe it.
You know what? The way you describe it, that is pretty freaking scary, man. Like, I thought Nano Boosted Brigida was scary. Nano Boosted Torbjorn? Get out of here.
Yeah, that's next level. Ivan throwing away a Earth Shatter into no one, trying to get the Orisa of Miru. And this is it. Kuberin dives, gets punished. The rest of the team backs off. There's just not a lot of teamwork happening for Mutiny right now.
Night swapping onto that Sombra, which could be huge. He was trying to get that back cap, but of course he does get taken down quite quickly. I mean, they knew he was there, right? And again, it just comes down to that teamwork. Oh no.
And then they W into a whole hog. And that's going to be it. 1 minute to go, but you don't have the aggression, the power to really push through this at the moment.
I mean, Mutiny have just been struggling to get that early pick that they need. Thunderclap doing so well to protect their tanks, to protect their DPS players, their support of getting
what
the kill
are you
that
doing?
Enemy turret.
Night on the Sombra in the way in the back, trying to get a back at. Instead of hacking the turret, goes to shoot it, loses half his health. Some weird things are happening here. Good self-destruct though, does get rid of Tugel and the turret. This is a great chance for Mutiny now to make their way onto the point as they hack away Zenyatta's armor, and this is actually a great attack from them. They finally try to do something different, and it's working out a little bit for them until the rest of Thunder move back. And that's it. Once again, Mutiny and JSG with the really, I don't know what to make of that. He kind of just hammered Zenyatta to death.
The problem there with Mutiny's attack, yes, they did so well to get through the choke and get towards point, but half of their team was still stuck behind the rest of Thunderclap. You can't just charge in and have half your team getting annihilated in the back line, because yes, you're going to touch point, but the whole of Thunderclap just turned around. I mean, they know they've got 3 ticks to deal with this problem. So all they need to do is deal with what's happening in the back line that has no tanks to protect them, and I think it was like a Sombra and one of the supports. So all they needed to do was just deal with that, and as soon as that was done, the tanks had no chance. You can't just be running in and doing whatever you like, right? You've got to be moving in as a unit, as a team. Yes, you want to hit W, you want to go, you want to be aggressive, but it needs to be coordinated. Without that coordination, you really are just screwing yourself over.
I think what happened was they heard us say push W and be aggressive, and everyone was like, all right guys, just go, just run. You know, someone's playing running in the 90s in the background, just running as fast as possible onto the point, and that didn't quite work out. Night, a little bit of a fumble with the Sombra. I mean, he could have done a lot more damage than what he did. Like I said, he could have focused down the supports first. Sombra is immensely powerful at doing that. And instead, what happened was he revealed himself too soon, and when it was time for him to have an impact, it might have been a bit too late, or he didn't quite have the impact that he needed. Although he's bringing out the Mei now, and like you said, you wanted to see this, so tell me about this Mei.
I love this Mei. So the idea here for this is to be able to put up a wall. You wait for 1 or 2 heroes to kind of filter through, and then as soon as that happens, you put up the wall, and you isolate those 2 players and completely delete them from the game, and that shuts down the enemy team's push before it even really begins. That's the idea. Unfortunately, it is a little bit harder to actually execute, especially because they are running this dive. It's not going to work out.
You can, yeah, see, that's the thing, you won't be able to separate the dive truly with the wall. Although Cloud going down early, that was actually not Cloud, that was Tugel. Oh, but they should not have let the Ninja get that revive. Tugel right back in the fight, and she's ready to go, ready to rock and roll. Although Kubrin does just push them off that high ground area they have. Mutiny looking panicked though as they hold onto this point. Rutu just managing to reset the Bastion in the corner there, and now they're just trying to lock down all the entrances. Although very good sort of attack from Thunder here to come in from the left hand side, try get around. Night sitting here with the Mei does pop that wall and finds Miru's mech. So Miru in a bad situation, although still no capitalization from Mutiny really. Miru allowed to stay alive for way too long. Revive on the Bastion, shut down almost immediately, and that's going to be it. Night's going to go down and the tick's going to come through.
And the funniest part of that whole engage for me was Kubrin. We had the Ninja on the high ground, damage boosting the Pharah, standing dead still. He wasn't moving. He was literally just standing there holding right click. Kubrin dived up, somehow missed the ledge, fell down, and the Ninja just stood there. Didn't even flinch, man. Didn't even hit like a sneaky D or A just to like try and dodge this Winston. Didn't fly away. I mean, that's what I would have done. I would have been terrified. It's like he knew that Winston was going to miss the jump, and missing that jump, letting the Ninja stay alive, allowed him to later on get off a res, and that it just cause and effect, man. It was just there wasn't a real defense. Again, the composition that they were running on defense here, I liked the Mei, but the fact that they were running a Bastion with the Orisa and then the Diva, it just circles right back around to what I was saying earlier about how they're running these heroes that aren't part of any particular composition. They're not running synergistic comps. They're running comps that they think are... They're running heroes that they think work, even though the heroes don't work well with one another. And if that's advice that I can give to JSG for both of their teams, you really need to be looking about the synergy of the heroes that you pick. It's not as simple as just, oh, this hero is strong at the moment, so we're going to play him. Bastion has been buffed recently, and a lot of people don't know how to deal with him, so we'll just pick Bastion. It doesn't work like that. There's so much more that needs to be considered.
That's true. I think Mutiny have a lot to learn, and I'm definitely looking forward to them doing that, to learning and actually coming out as a strong team. A lot of potential there. But up until that moment, they're just going to have to learn to deal with defeat. And a crushing defeat at that.
Yeah, it was quite unfortunate, but we did speak about it at the beginning of this match. Thunderclap, they are a fairly high-ranking team at the moment, with very strong chances of getting into the Prem division. Mutiny, with players that are fairly new and a fairly new team overall, it wasn't in their favor in this whole game. They would have had to do something really amazing to swing this around, and unfortunately they couldn't do it. But there is so much room for improvement, and that's what I love about this game. You see these teams and maybe they don't fare as well as you thought they would, but by golly, in a few months they come back and they completely pull the rug out from under you. We saw it with the old Ominence that eventually became 8-Bit Oddity. We saw it with Chronic. We saw it with Evo. All of these teams that started out fairly low and just skyrocketed, and before you knew it, they were in, they were contenders for Prem Division. So JSG, yes, a lot that you can work on, but keep at it. And I really want to see you guys climbing up that ladder later on this year.
That's going to be it from us, though, for tonight. I think you've said everything that needs to be said. So thank you guys for watching some South African competitive Overwatch. Now we'll be back here Sunday. It's going to be GG taking on BZK2CP. That's going to be an exciting game. So I look forward to seeing you guys there. Any final thoughts from you?
Nope, I think I've said all I've had to say. GG's to both teams, particularly to Thunderclap. You guys played exceptionally well. I look forward to the next one.
Thank you, guys. You meant to say goodbye. You always do it. I'm waiting.
Oh, bye.